Well, howdy doody, argy bargy crew. Hope you're having a great day and your family's happy and healthy. All right, this little old video, we're going to do the settings that I use in Euro Truck Simulator 2 to get the best quality graphics, best realistic steering wheel, feedback, etc., best sound, the whole lot that I can achieve. Doesn't necessarily mean that these settings are going to achieve that for you, but it's at least a place to start. So, yeah, hang in there and wait till the end too, because I've got a little tip there at the end for you to have a look at that you might like. All right, so let's get into it. So down here, we'll go to the options. And once you're in the options, we'll take a look at the graphics. Now, I'm using dual monitors. So my resolution is 3840 or 1079. Yours will be whatever resolution that your monitors allow for. So therefore, just set that to whichever one, excuse me, that your monitors are. So if you've got a single monitor that's 1920 by 1080, choose that. You get the idea. Refresh rate, that's up to you, depending on what your monitors allow. My monitors actually allow 144 hertz. For some reason, this is on 59. I can't remember why I did that, but that's what it's on, and it works. Vertical synchronization, I enable. And then in this advanced graphical settings, this is where a lot of people have problems. They're not sure what to set the scalings for. I set my scaling at 300%. I disable SMAA. I disable SSAO, or Screen Space Ambient Occlusion. I get rid of depth of field. I include sun shafts. I'm not worried about color correction because the game does a pretty good job of that itself. Reflective or reflection scaling, I set at 100%. A lot of people have this either higher or lower, but I find 100% is fine. Everything else is on high until you get to weather quality, which is ultra, and the mirror quality, I set that to low. And therefore, the mirror distance is also set to low, and mirror resolution is automatically set to low once you set that. The reason I do that is that I've found that the mirror quality is one of the biggest impacts on frames per second. So by putting that on low, I get a higher frame rate. Texture quality high. Anisotropic filtering is 16 times. And I have normal maps, traffic headlights, secondary vehicle lights. A lot of people have found that by turning that off will help increase frame rate as well. So if you, even after setting this to low, if you're still having problems with frame rate, turn off secondary vehicle lights and you might find that that will improve. Light visibility range high, and pedestrians I have on. All right, so that's the graphics. If you're not sure, you can pause this at any time and just copy the settings. Again, this should improve your graphics just by setting that to low immensely. All right, next one, audio. Now, this is debatable. A lot of people claim that you're better off turning everything up. I've found that this is the best setting for me. Again, totally up to you. You can use this as a base and go from there and test it. So I have the master volume at 100. Everything else is 50, except for truck turbo volume. I set that at about 34, 35. The reason I do that is because some of the truck turbos can be extremely noisy. And if you find that they're too quiet, you can adjust it individually from there. So everything else is 50%. Radio volume, that's adjustable in game, but I have it at 17%. Voice navigation, I have up around 80 to 85%. CB radio, I don't actually use, but I left it at 50%. CB radio audio effects volume, that's at 17%, the same as what your radio volume is. And then the user interface sound volume is 50%. Intro logos volume, down at 12% because, again, I'm not too concerned about that. Of course, with voice navigation, we have enabled voice navigation. I've got the mod that has Morgan Freeman's voice. Let's preview that. Works well. Why is that not working? Oh, well, it works. But for some reason, the preview is not working. Anyway, it normally does, but it's Murphy's Law. When I'm trying to show somebody, it doesn't. CB radio, voice over noise, Roger beep. Again, this is if you use a CB radio. The Roger beep preview works. That's weird. Okay, other audio settings, backup beeper, I turn it off. I find it annoying, but if you like it, leave it on. Rumble stripes, whatever you want to call them, have that on. Open window noise, have that on. And naturally, the noise of the flowing air is grayed out, but it is on because I have the open window noise. Reverb effect of cabin, that's on. These are all player choice. It's up to you whether or not you have these on, but this is what I like. So reverb effect of the environment and play sound when the game is in background. I don't have that on. I don't even know what that one means. And then your audio driver is your default driver, or if you have a different setup, that's your choice again. All right, so again, what you can do, I'll take this up to the top. If you need to check these, pause the game, and you can then check them all out and set them as desired. All right, and then next one is gameplay. In the gameplay, random desktop theme is your choice. Desktop fade out again is your choice. In the game settings, because I do a lot of videos and whatnot, I have fatigue simulation off. In my realistic setup, I have a profile that I call Keeping It Real. In that, I have fatigue and traffic offences turned on. But as an overall setting, I have it off because I do a lot of videos and that just interferes with the videos I make, so I've turned them off. Again, your choice. If you want realism, turn fatigue on and traffic offences on. Fatigue means that once you reach your allotted hours on the road, you have to stop for a sleep. Traffic offences means that if you run a red light or you speed, you'll get done for it. Simple as that. For the preferred job length, I've got that at 95%. That's just something that I found works best for me. Route advisor speed limit, show truck limit. You've got a choice of hide, show car limit, show truck limit. Naturally, because you're in a truck, I think that show truck limit is the way to go. Route advisor speeding warning, have that on so that you know when you're speeding. Automatic parking dialogue, I have that off because I find it's annoying. I just go into the depot and just let the game choose the best parking that it feels is appropriate. Keep route advisor hidden, I have that ticked. Heavy cargo warning screen, I have that unticked. Map alignment, north locked. Show navigation, always navigation mode, the best. And again, you have choice, shortest, small roads, and again, your choice. I found that best is the best, so I'll leave it at that. Parking difficulty, random parking. I don't know why that's on random because I had it. Oh, no, that's correct. Yes, random parking. That's correct. I'm thinking of coupling. I have coupling on precision coupling. Okay, random road events. I have that up around about 28% because I find if it's higher, too many obstacles and too many problems on the road. Detours, I have that at 0. Again, the same problem. If you have that turned up, you'll find that there's detours pop up all over the place, which can make you late for jobs. Rain probability, I have it around 11% because I don't like driving in the rain. But you can have that to set to whichever you want. Even at 11%, it still rains fairly frequently. Time zones, I have that disabled only because I keep changing because I'm making videos and whatnot. If you prefer, you can have that at only time or full info. It's up to you. Show cutscenes, I have that included. That's so that when you pull up where there's a viewpoint or whatever, it will show you that. If you have it unticked, I'm pretty sure that doesn't show. Show blockers. This is the X's at the entrance or exits that are blocked off to you. You're not allowed down those roads. If you have it off, you won't see them, which means you could end up running into an invisible barrier, causing damage to your truck. So I have that left on. Invert mouse, sorry. Again, your preference, I have it unticked. Basically because I don't use the mouse except for pointer. I use a steering wheel and gear shift. Okay, so onto the truck settings. Transmission type, I have H shifter because I use a Logitech gear shift. 7-speed or 6-speed, whatever it is. I can't remember now. Smart sequential shifting, I have that off because, again, I use that gear shift. Steering, auto center, keyboard, or gamepad only. I have it ticked, but because it's only for gamepad or keyboard, I don't think it really affects anything I do, but I just have that ticked naturally. It was the default setting, so I left it there. Steering animation range, that is at 900% because the Logitech G29 that I use is a 900 degree, I'm getting tongue-tied, 900 degree turning radius, 450 each way. So I have it set at that. This is set to whatever your steering wheel range is. So if it's 1,800, then you have it at 1,800. If it's 450, you have it at 450. Get the idea? Good. Okay, braking intensity, I have that at about 99, 100%, only because I found that to me, with my pedals that I use, is quite adequate. Sometimes I adjust, depending on the truck, I'll adjust that up or down to suit the truck that I'm driving. And these settings here I've found are the best for the realistic physics and steering for the truck. Okay? And again, I reiterate, the most realistic settings. Okay, so therefore the feedback can be quite heavy at times and quite light at times, but it's the closest to a realistic truck. I've driven trucks, so I know what a real truck feels like in steering, and these settings that you're going to see are the ones that I've found are closest to realistic. Okay, so braking intensity 99, truck stability 65, trailer stability 77, drive shaft torque 67%, suspension stiffness 55, cabin suspension stiffness 100, uneven surface simulation 100. Advanced trailer coupling, that should be ticked. I don't know why. This must be an old profile that I'm going through that wasn't updated. But anyway, so that should be ticked. Advanced trailer coupling. I use that because I prefer, again, to try and keep it as realistic as possible. And it means you have to be very precise when you're coupling up to the trailer, just like you would in real life. Trailer cables, plate trailers, truck speed limiter, I have that turned off. Rain sensor, that's off. That's for trucks that have automatic windscreen wipers that turn on when it's raining. I'm going to turn that on. I don't know why it was off. Automatic retarder, I've got that on. Automatic engine brake, I have that turned off because I've got the engine brake mapped to a button on my gear shift. Automatic and electricity start, I have that off because I have a button box with a key start that I use. Automatic parking brake engage, again, I have that off. That becomes annoying after time. Automatic drop of liftable axles, I have that turned on. Air brakes simulation, I have that turned on. Realistic fuel consumption, have that turned on. Again, trying to keep it as real as I can. Anti-lock braking system, totally up to you. Hello. I have that turned off, basically because I'm trying to mimic the older trucks, not the newer ones, with anti-lock brake systems. Traction control likewise. Cruise control grid steps, I have that at 5 kilometres per hour. I found that the best because if you have it lower at 1 kilometre an hour or whatever, you're forever pumping up the cruise control to try and get it to the speed you want. I find at 5 kilometres per hour, that gives you 5 kilometre per hour increments. So if you're travelling at 40 and the speed limit's 45, you just hit the button once and it cranks it up to 45. Tolerance 0. That way it sits exactly on the 45 kilometres per hour or 40 kilometres, whatever it is that you've chosen. It's exactly on that and won't allow it to go above that or below it. Adaptive cruise control. Now, this is, again, up to your own preference. I have it at 30, which is about medium, if you want to call it that, because I found that that's probably the best distance to give you plenty of time to take over from the cruise control if it spots an obstacle. Emergency braking system, definitely disable that, because what that does is it will slam the brakes on unexpectedly when it detects something in front of you, and sometimes it detects stuff that isn't there. So that's disabled, and that's why I have it disabled. Automatic headlights, definitely have that turned on. Automatic high beams, have that turned on. They work great. So over night time, you're not always fiddling with your high beams when there's cars coming at you. Believe me, if you want to try it out and do it, it works great. Automatic blinker turn off, definitely have that selected. Because again, trying to keep it as realistic as possible. Cabin accessories physics, I have that turned on. That's just simply if you've got, say, a hanging item hanging down from your rearview mirror or whatever from the CB radio, it will sway and move in accordance to the G-forces of the cabin. So I have that turned on to keep it more realistic. Again, if you're having problems with frames per second, maybe turn that off, because that can contribute to slowing the frames per second down. Okay, steering camera rotation. Again, your choice, but I find it's best to have that turned on. I had it turned off for a while because I was using a free tracking, our head tracking system, and I still use the free tracking system. Another video, if you want to check that out, it'll be in the how-to videos in the playlist. But I had that, and I had it turned off because I thought it was hindering the head tracking, but it doesn't. It was just that I had the head tracking set up incorrectly. Once I got the head tracking set up correctly, I found it having that turned on doesn't affect it, and therefore if I'm not using head tracking, this automatically takes over and provides a better view when you're turning corners. Steering camera rotation factor, I have that at 100%. Any more, any less, it just is weird. So I found 100% to be the best. Steering camera rotation and reverse, I had that turned off because the simple fact that when I was reversing, if I was looking at the window and I had it enabled, it would ruin the view because it would go wherever the steering wheel was. And it just, it was weird. Again, your own preference, but I find that that's the best. Blinker camera rotation, I've got that turned off because to me it's very similar to steering camera rotation. Again, your own choice. Try it and see what you think. Physical camera movement, have that turned on. Physical camera movement factor, 104%, 100%. Interior camera horizon locking factor, 100%. Language, English, but again, depending on where you're from, your choice. Region presets, I have that to custom because what I did was I changed a few things. Changed it to euros and whatever you change down here, we'll change that to custom. So if you, for example, you can take continental Europe, United Kingdom, or US, but I found that setting it up to my own custom settings is the best way. So custom settings are localized city and country names, show secondary names in map, turn that off. Display currency, I prefer the euro because we're in Europe. 24 clock rotation, turned off. I can't stand 24-hour clocks. Length in units, kilometres, and again, this is because it's Europe. Kilograms and tons, Celsius, litres, default. All right, again, pause it if you want to check all these settings out. Chat settings, I don't use the chat because I don't play multiplayer, but I think these are all the default settings, so I've just left it. Same with convoy, I don't do convoys. I really do want to do convoys, but because I'm here in Australia, it's very hard to find somebody to do convoys with at the times that I'm available. So if you're here in Australia or you don't mind playing late at night or early in the morning and you want to do a convoy, hit me up in the comments below or on Discord or whatever, and I'd be only too happy to join you. Quick replies, again, that's totally up to you what you set that at. All right, now keybinds. Sorry for the length of this video, but we're going through all the settings because that's what people wanted. So the throttle on here, this is for your keyboard and your mouse settings, basically. It's set to this is all set to the standard stuff. And because the steering wheel takes over from that, you don't need to change any of that if you're using a steering wheel. Shift up, shift down, same thing. Because I'm using a gear shift, I don't need to worry about that. Start, stop engine. Now, this is where you program if, for example, you've got a button box like I do. This is where you program it in. So unless you're using a button box, these settings don't point anything out to you because these will be whatever you want to map it to. All right? So really, I'll go through here and you can see these things. I've got button box. I've also got Sim dashboard that I use. So the settings, again, in this will be basically irrelevant to you because you will set it up to whatever you want. Although if you need a hand setting any of these up, hit me up in the comments below or on Discord. And I'm only too happy to help you out because they can be confusing. But yeah, again, if you want to pause and have a look at what my settings that I've got for everything here, you can, but it only really applies to my setup because I've got so many different controllers that I use to play the game. So I'm going through this so that you can pause at any time. All right. Then we go on to controls. Now, this is where you'll see what I mean about controls. So I've got my keyboard plus the G29 Logitech. Then I've got the ANXTF one. That is the gear knob that I have on my gear shifter. That is a proper or realistic 18-speed gear knob, which you can see in my other videos what I use. It has the splitter and the high-low range on the gear shift. Also has a button at the top that you can use for your Jake brake. Then I have my button box that I use. So these all three I use, plus I use two other tablets that are connected via Wi-Fi using Sim dashboard, I think it is. And yeah, they're all mapped to my buttons or whatever. But, okay, so moving on. Gamepad or steering wheel setup. Controller subtype is wheel naturally because I use the steering wheel. Transmission is the Hayes shifter. Adaptive automatic transmission. I don't use auto, so therefore it's disabled. But if you use auto, you can change it to whichever one you want here. Again, your choice. Steering sensitivity, I found this. Again, these settings are the best for realistic steering. Give you the feel as if you were in a real truck or as close as possible that I've been able to get to with my G29. May not work with if you're using a Fanatec or Monza or whatever it's called. I don't know. You know what I mean. Any other steering wheel. These may not work, but it's a good place to start. So yeah, at 0.40 for the sensitivity. Steering on linearity, I found, is 12. Force feedback, definitely click. Overall gain, 92%. Centering at high speed, 92. Centering at low speed, 92. All right, again, these are the most realistic settings I've found. Internal friction, 46%. Engine resonation, turn that off because it's very seldom in a real truck that you'll feel the vibrations that much through your steering wheel. Terrain surface, about 8%. Bumps right up to 100%. Now, the terrain surface, I turn that down to 8% because sometimes I'm recording videos late at night, and because the G29 is quite noisy, I've turned that down to 8% because it decreases the amount of vibration in the steering wheel when you're going over rough terrain or whatnot. Therefore, it decreases the noise the steering wheel makes. And there's other people that live in my house that I don't want to wake up. All right, so that's why I've got that turned down, but you can turn that up to whatever you want. And again, that's a personal preference. Collision, 100%. Gearbox grind, 50%. I'm thinking of maybe altering that because I'm not getting enough gearbox grind as far as I'm concerned. Understeer slip, 54%. And then we move on to the steering axis. Joy wheel axis, of course, this is on the steering wheel. And as you can see, as I turn the steering wheel, it moves. Oops. And it is centered. And the steering axis dead zone is 0. Then we have the accelerator, inverted. These are for the G29 pedals, all right, at 20% dead zone. And I find that is the best feel for a true accelerator. The joy brake is inverted and at 15%. And again, I find that that is the best feel for a realistic brake. The clutch, I had to fiddle around with quite a bit because I was getting, the truck was stalling quite often when I had it down here at around about 20% or 15%. I could never work out what was going on until I fiddled with it a bit and brought it up to 60% and the dead zone down to 20%. And I found that that's about the best feeling clutch you'll get in my situation. It may not be in yours, but again, a good place to start, and then you can play with it and adjust it to your liking. It's inverted as well. So remember that they're all inverted because that's basically the only way I could get them to work. If you leave them as standard or whatever, what's the centered or whatever, it doesn't work. Okay, look up, look down axis. Yeah, not concerned about them because I've got them mapped to other buttons. And then we go into the shifter layout or shifter setup. I have shifter layout. It's grayed out. I found that if I choose one of these, it will mess with my gears. So I've left that grayed out. Shifter layout behavior advanced. Shifter fast split advanced only. I've got clutch or throttle. Again, because it is the best for my setup as far as realistic goes. I'll go into this in a little bit of depth because you may want to know about this one. The clutch or throttle means that if I'm driving and I'm changing gears or changing up through the gears, I can just take my foot off the throttle and then match the revs as I put it into gear, and it will change gears without the clutch. And this is how most truck drivers, you'll find probably 80% of truck drivers drive without a clutch when they're gearing up. But I can also use the clutch when I'm gearing down, because gearing down, you won't be able to mesh as easily as you could gearing up, and therefore you'll grind the gears and not get it in gear or whatever. So this is the best setting for me. So when gearing up, I just release the throttle, change gear, making sure that I'm matching the revs. Gearing down, I use the clutch to gear down. All right, so gear positions. Reverse is joy button 18, meaning that that's the reverse position on my gear shift. I use the exact same positioning as an 18 speed. So it's across and up. Okay, so across and up on my gear shift, which is the Logitech gear shifter. So position 1 I use is straight up. Okay, or joy button 12. Position 2, straight down. Position 3, cross and up, or cross to the right and up. Position, sorry, where are we? Position 3, yep. 1, 2, 3, yep. Position 4 is across to the right and down. And then using the splitter, I then go from across to the right and down to across to the to the middle and up, which gives you fifth, then straight back to 6, across and up, across to the right and up to 6. And then you also have your high and your low ranges. If you want me to go into more depth with that, I will do a different video showing you how that works. With the gearbox automatic, if I ever do use it, I've set that to my joy button 5 and joy button 15. And then we go to controller selection, cursor speed. This was the default setting and I've left it at that. Color feedback, I don't know what that was. That's its default setting. Now, if you're using eye tracking like Tobii or whatever, I'd have that ticked, but no head tracking or hardware has been detected on this. I use OpenTrack, I think it's called. Can't remember offhand, but it doesn't really actually install any hardware on the game, and it's so easy to set up. I've got another video, like I said, about that. If you want to check that out, you can. All right. So that's basically all the settings, the online settings. They're just your basic settings and your choice. So they're the settings that I use. If you've got any questions about anything else that you feel that you need to know, give me a shout out down in the comments below or on my Discord. Again, like I say, I'm only too happy to talk to you about it and help you out and see if we can fix whatever the problems may be, or if there's an adjustment you're not sure about, I'll definitely give you a hand. I almost forgot the tip I was going to let you know about. Okay, so this is if you want to be able to edit your profiles yourself. And again, I've got a video on how to do that in the how-to videos, if you want to check that out. The best thing you can do for yourself is if you go into your profile, into edit profile, and when you're in there, you'll see that it has here use Steam Cloud. It will be ticked in most cases, unless you've already done this. Untick that, because when you untick that, what it does is it stops saving to the Steam Cloud and saves directly to your hard drive. And therefore, if you want to edit your profile or any of the your controls or configs or whatever within your profile, you can now do it directly from your computer. If you have that ticked, you can't get to them to edit them. So I have in all my profiles, I have that unticked so that if I need to, I can edit my profiles, change the names, change the controls, whatever. So yeah, just a quick tip to let you know that if that's something you want to do at any stage, or if you want to copy your profile, by unticking that, it will be saved on your computer, and then you can edit and do what you want with it yourself. Okay, that's it. But yeah, so if that did help, subscribe to the video if you haven't already, or subscribe to my channel, sorry. If you think it was helpful and that some of your friends might like to have a look at it, share the video, let them know about it. And hopefully, if you did like it, we'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.